plus for President Trump. Who knows what was said in the background in Asia, but the fact is, China's not sent this kind of high-level person to North Korea for a couple of years. Means something.
Absolutely, it does. Look, on foreign policy, the trip was a huge success. He gave a fantastic speech. First of all, he strengthened his relationships with President Xi and Prime Minister Abe and leaders in the region, built great rapport with them. His speech in South Korea on the North Korean problem, where he basically said, don't test us. Don't make the mistake. We've spilled blood before. We don't look for war, but we're not going to shy away from it. Sent a clear message, I think, to the North Koreans that he is willing, and to Beijing, quite frankly, that he is willing to use military force if that's what's necessary to stop North Korea from threatening U.S. cities with nuclear ICBMs. So I think we're good. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I suspect that we're going to see some progress, or we're going to have to go down the track of trying to take alternative plans.
Mark, do you remember not too long ago, President Xi came over to America. President Trump entertained him at Mar-a-Lago, and in the middle of the dinner, the president got up, came back after a few minutes and told Xi, by the way, we just launched on Syria. I think that was sending a message that we will do it if we have to do it. Look at this. You agree?
Very much so. And look, he needs to look at that event as the model for how to deal with North Korea. So everyone, the reason that no diplomatic progress takes place is because the North Koreans and other countries in the region don't think that we will take military action, because they think if we strike North Korea, there'll be a cataclysmic war, it'll go nuclear, hundreds of thousands of people will die. It's unthinkable. What he needs to do is send a message to North Korea that you are no longer allowed to test ballistic missiles. You are no longer allowed to test nuclear weapons. If you try it, then we will take out the missile on the launch pad. We will take out the nuclear weapon on the test site, and we won't take more action if you don't retaliate. So that's what he did in Syria. When in Syria, he launched that attack. He did a limited strike on the site from which they used chemical weapons, but he didn't launch a broader attack on the Syrian regime. And so that could be the solution to this, where he just unilaterally declares North Korea is a ballistic missile no-fly zone and a nuclear no-test zone, and we will enforce that with U.S. military might if the North Koreans don't come to the table.
Oh, that's a plus, I got to say. Now, look at domestic policy. Is it possible that the president is on the verge of a double win? I noticed that the Obamacare mandate repeal is part of the Senate tax package, and I noticed that the tax package itself is looking more and more likely to get passed. That would be a double win, I think. What say you?
100% correct. Look, I mean, the only reason that Paul Ryan didn't include the Obamacare mandate repeal in the House bill is because the House had passed it already. The Senate seemed unable to do it. So if the Senate can come up with a plan that repeals the Obamacare mandate, one, that gives us more revenue to work with to make tax reform better, but two, Republicans, if they pass it, can go to the voters and say, look, we passed fundamental tax reform that's going to inject jet fuel into this economy and expand growth and jobs for the American people. And we started the process of repealing Obamacare by getting rid of the individual mandate. And on top of that, with the economy growing, the stock market going gangbusters, unemployment low, they can go into the 2018 election with a real case for re-election and for expansion of their Senate majority.
Mark, I've got a little time left, and I would love to ask you this question. I asked many people. Do you think we'll ever get used to him? I mean, this president is so unusual. He is so different, just so unusual. Will we ever get used to it?
I think we will get used to it, but you know what? All of the stuff that upsets people about Donald Trump, the tweets and the things like that, if he can get tax reform through, if he can get the Obamacare mandate repeal through, if he can get some of these big legislative victories, and they're reforming the judiciary, not just the Supreme Court. He's stacking more conservative judges onto the courts of appeal than any president in history. If he can get all those substantive things through, then all that will be just noise. And we'll be used to it because we'll be enjoying all the fruits of his presidency.
The fruits, we're back to that. OK, Marc Thiessen, thanks very much for joining us, Mark. We'll see you again real soon, I hope.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. Let's bring in